Welcome back to Dark Room Reviews. And if you're new to the channel, I discuss movie reviews here and a little bit of everything in between. So consider subscribing to the channel. We're on our way to 600 subscribers. I'm going to tackle The Karate Kid from 1984. It's directed by John G. Avildsen. Sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, the reason why I want to cover this is because of the brand new Karate Kid Legends film that's about to hit theaters, starring Ralph Macchio, Jackie Chan. Talk about this movie as much as I can, the original, where it all began. Let me just say right off the bat, the 1980s conquered cinema. We saw a lot of original film ideas pop off on the big screen, and The Karate Kid was one of those movies. For people who grew up in the 1980s and 90s, The Karate Kid was one of those movies that stuck with you. It's one of those movies that has several one-liners: wax on, wax off, sweep the leg. But what lies at the center of The Karate Kid, it's a coming-of-age story. And I don't think that's brought up a whole lot when it comes to that particular film. And I think it fits right in with the likes of a movie like Stand By Me, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science. And before I get into this review, if you haven't seen The Karate Kid, if you're a parent, introduce this film to your kids. This is as raw and original as you can get, as far as the whole underdog story, Daniel LaRusso's rise to the top. The movie stars Ralph Macchio, Pat Morita, Elizabeth Shue, and William Zabka. The story is pretty basic. Mother and son, they move cross country from New Jersey all the way to California to start fresh. The mother has a new job, and Daniel LaRusso's your typical teenager, has his whole life ahead of him. He's about to start high school, and he's looking to make friends. But all that is derailed pretty quickly. Eventually he meets kids his age. They are out of his league, essentially. He's at the bottom of the totem pole as far as popularity goes. Right in those moments, you feel for this kid. You feel what he's going through. You feel the embarrassment. You feel the insecurity. He's a shell of himself. I think this is one of Ralph Macchio's first films, and he does such a good job just portraying a typical kid and just looking to fit in. And along the way, his situation gets worse. He's got a black eye. He's got some bruises. He's about to start school. Kids start noticing his demeanor, and it affects him. It's affecting him. So a chunk of the first act is all about him and what he's dealing with, what he has to deal with as a typical teenager. Things don't get any better for Daniel LaRusso. He comes across Mr. Johnny Lawrence, played by William Zabka. He knows karate, and he's quick to show off his moves on Daniel LaRusso. He's fearing for his life, and he just wants to fit in at the same time, and it's tough. But let's talk about the relationship where Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi, is how he connects with Daniel LaRusso. So first of all, Daniel LaRusso and his mom live in an apartment complex, very typical for a mother and son. And sure enough, Mr. Miyagi, he lives in the same complex. He's a bit of a, you could say, a maintenance guy around. And when they first meet each other, when Daniel and Mr. Miyagi, they don't have much in common. They don't speak very much. It's very quiet at times. That's how we are introduced to Mr. Miyagi. He speaks very little. He has very little to say. He's more of a doer than, a chatterbox. The times where we see these two, together, it's not much. What really pushes the narrative is it's in the second act. Mr. Miyagi and Daniel LaRusso really start to bond. Mr. Miyagi saves Daniel from a big fight involving Johnny Lawrence and his gang. That's the tipping point. That's where Daniel LaRusso decides to, you know what? It's time for me to stand up for myself. I'm gonna, learn karate. And Mr. Miyagi takes that as, okay, we'll take this one step at a time. Eventually, Mr. Miyagi has Daniel do several chores. He paints his house. He paints, his fence. He washes his car. And, as the audience, we're thinking to ourselves, okay, this is not your typical, karate movie. This is not how someone teaches someone how to learn karate. Karate is not something that comes from anger. And those little moments between, Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita, it really take center stage, and it makes for a good, story, a bonding story. And like I said, this film is, I think this is a film that, kids, 10 to 13-year-olds should experience for the first time. They can relate to certain situations. And Daniel LaRusso finds out about this tournament. Mr. Miyagi is in the middle of training him, prepping him for this big tournament. And he's going to go head-to-head with Cobra Kai. Now, Cobra Kai is a huge deal, at least later on. But here, Johnny Lawrence is part of this karate club known as Cobra Kai. They, this fighting dojo. He takes it very seriously. And one thing about William Zabka in this movie is that he's not front and center here. But we know for a fact that he's the bully in school. Now, eventually we get to the tournament, and things go as planned. Daniel LaRusso goes head to head with Johnny Lawrence, and it turns out as you would expect. But what you should really pay attention to are the themes. There's one particular theme with Allie's family. Now, she comes from a rich family. Her family goes to the country club. They drink champagne and all that. And Daniel, on the other hand, he lives across town, and he lives in a in the not so rich neighborhood. Allie's parents, are aware of that, and it's just this whole thing that's brought up. So a lot of things add up and are against Daniel LaRusso in this movie, and it's tough. I'm glad that a lot of this stuff was added. It adds so much depth to this character. But all in all, it is an experience. This movie, it's cheesy at times, but the message behind everything is memorable. Guys, have you seen The Karate Kid? If not, I do recommend it. I'm sure it's streaming. If you want to see it on DVD or Blu-ray, order it online. Go to your local library and check it out. I'm sure it's available. Guys, look out for more content very soon. Take care. Folks, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out in the long run. Darkroom Reviews, it's the place you should be subscribed to. Join the channel. It's free.